Last time on the electric tractor project, I tried out this 48-volt forklift hydraulic pump, just running some water through it, and even at 12 volts it had a pretty good flow rate. The tractor's original hydraulics had a hard line going from a fixed spot in the front of the tractor back to here. Under the seat is the hydraulic reservoir. And I thought rather than chopping that up, what would be nice is just to replace the bit that's at the end, basically just making a new version of that part and connecting it with some flexible hoses. So that's what we're going to do today. The very first thing that I did was simply trace the end of the part, which may have been okay, but I thought CAD would really be the way to go for accuracy, so I visited our friend of the family, Fred, who's a machinist, and he showed me how to do some measurements and lay it out in CAD. Then I used honest-to-goodness, a floppy to transport it back to my computer, where I could put it on my Cameo Silhouette cutter and cut it out of cardstock. Now I had a real-world copy of the end of this part, and I was actually able to put it on here. I call this cardstock aided design. But back in real CAD, I was also able to bring the file in and extrude it, and from there I had a very simple 3D shape. I could even add color, look at it from different angles. CAD is a very, very cool thing. I just know the basics of using Autodesk Fusion 360. But one of the really cool things about this here is right in the software there's a feature where you can bring in existing 3D components from the McMaster car catalog, pop them right in there. So I pulled in a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch swivel pipe thread hydraulic connection, and I could see how all this would look. Now I could also take my cardstock template to the store and make sure that I got the right parts. Here's actually 3 different swivels that came back to bite me later. But I got the hunk of steel from a place called Speedy Metals, pretty close to the size that I needed. Just measured everything up, used a little tape to put my template on there, and essentially I knew exactly what I wanted to do for my part. I did want to make sure that it would seal nicely on the O-rings. That was very important. And here's what, kind of the general idea of what it should look like. After that, it was a trip to Fred's to use the mill in his garage. I put the paper template on and did all the center punching. And then after that, it was a matter of just drilling out the holes, starting with smaller bits and working our way up. A lot easier doing this on a mill than even a drill press. And the most fun of all was, of course, that big 3/4 inch hole. Then once I was done with the drilling, it was on to using a grinder just to round off the corners. Of course, this grinding made the part pretty hot, so I kept a dish of water nearby to cool it down, otherwise it would have been too hot to handle. It is a tractor, not a work of art. I could probably spend all day grinding this, trying to get all the corners nice and even, but I think this is looking just fine. I still needed to tap those 2 middle holes. I was going to come back and do that next time when we had the right tools for it. Unfortunately, the schedule for Fred and me just didn't line up, and so in the end, he just ended up tapping and threading the 2 fittings in there for me, and the next time I saw this part, it looked like this. And then we've got a pair of O-rings, and those basically surround the hole in the back here. So what I have to do is just put this on, put the bolts through, and then tighten it down, and now I've got a custom solution so I can go from here to the electric hydraulic pump. Before getting too carried away, I figured it was worthwhile to do some painting first. So I masked off the fittings just because they were already in there real tight, and then gave this a coat of spray-on primer. This is a 1 inch by 3/4 inch stainless steel reducer bushing. The input port on the pump is 1 inch, but I'm going to be using 3/4 inch hose, and the port over here on our on the tractor is 3/4 inch also. And back to the painting, I had gotten myself some official International Harvester red oil-based paint. It's a really pretty color, looks very nice. Again, not the world's greatest painter, but more than anything, just trying to protect the finish here, keep it from rusting. So a couple of things that I have here is a 1" to 3/4 inch bushing. I'm going to use that to reduce this 1" down to the 3/4 inch hole I'm going to be using. I've also got some hydraulic sealant. I'll make sure to put a couple of drops of this on before tightening everything down. One thing I'm seeing though is I've got this right angle adapter, and the reason why I want to use this is that I want to make sure the hoses both point the same direction. Come on, autofocus. So this right angle adapter, it's got the swivel for working with the fixed male end hoses, and if I have this up here, then what that's going to do, both the hoses come straight in from the side instead of having them 90 degrees apart, which seems like a waste of space. The trouble here is that if I'm turning this in, looks like I'm going to hit here, so I'll probably have to pull the pump off before I install this. So now I've got a 3/4 inch hose. This just has a fixed male end that does not spin or anything, which is why I got the end here that does spin. I'm just gonna hand thread this in to start, making sure, of course, that we're not cross-threaded or anything. And then to tighten it, I'll hold the hose straight and turn the spinny part. And now we got our 3/4 inch hose connection. Next we'll do the 1/2 inch hose. What the? Oh man, this isn't a 1/2 inch hose, it's a 3/8. God dang it. Ah! So after a trip to the store again, because I had to go there to get this, had to go back to get this because I had a hose I thought was the right size, but it wasn't. So now all I got to do is screw that in. So this is what the custom part looks like when it's all done. And I did try to do like a little 3D design of this a while back, and I think I got that somewhere, so maybe when I edit this I can put them side by side and you can see how close I came with the pre-visualization to the final product. And I just realized a screw up. If you look here, we've got a smaller hole and a larger hole. But on the other side, these are both the same size connections, both 1/2 inch. So this is actually the part that was supposed to be used 3/4 by 3/4, but I gotta get this guy out first. Okay, so now this should look more like what I had planned. Although I didn't get that quite as deep in there as I originally planned, but it's solid. It's, those are both threaded in there. Nice and solid. Now, I don't know how long these O-rings have been on there, and O-rings are cheap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those out and replace them. In case you were wondering, that's a number 57 O-ring and a number 31 O-ring. And that's the actual sealing surface. The O-rings stick out past the face of the metal. And the other thing I'm going to do is wipe down the surface here with a little hydraulic fluid as kind of our lubricant slash sealant. And figure out where the heck my third bolt went. And that should seal this up right against those O-rings. So now we gotta bring our hoses in. and tighten it up like that. Okay, there we go. We've got our little custom adapter, our connections with the swivels, and our hoses. Looks like somebody actually planned this. Now that we have the hydraulics hooked up between the tractor and the motor, we got to have the electrical hooked up to the motor. So right down here I've got a 12-volt battery, and from there, from the positive, nice thick cable, I'm going to a contactor. From the contactor up to the motor, through the motor, and back over here to the negative of the battery. And then power for that contactor is these smaller wires. One's already going to the negative, and the other one here goes to the positive. So when I connect this, it completes the circuit here to engage that, and then that'll spin up the motor. But before we spin up the motor, we got to put some more hydraulic fluid in here. I got a 5-gallon jug here, and the filler is right here on top of the reservoir. This is where we're going to fill the hydro oil. And one thing kind of cute, kind of old school on this is that it has a dipstick. So if we look in here, it actually gives you a add and a full line on it. Okay, so now assuming I did everything right, I just have to hook up that little yellow wire that'll turn on the contactor, that'll run the 12 volts straight to the electric motor, that'll start the pump going, which will suck hydraulic oil out of there and then pump it back at high pressure. Now the controls you see there, those two levers are for the front end loader, which is not installed, but back here, that is for the 3-point lift on the back, and I'll be able to test with that. Hopefully this will just make a little bit of motor noise when it turns on and will not squirt hydraulic oil everywhere. There is also power steering on here though. I did have to disconnect that at one point. It's just two small little connectors going up to there. There's a 50-50 chance that I hooked them up correct versus hooking them up wrong. So, I'm going to hook this up and let's see what happens. Okay, so I'd fired this up, the motor spun, I came up here, I tried the 3-point and really nothing happened. Took me a minute to realize, and I went, aha, you know what? I didn't prime the pump. So of course there was just air in these hoses, and with just air in there, it couldn't get pumping. So our top line there, which was our output, I cracked that with it running, and sure enough, starts spraying fluid all over because then it was able to suck out the air, suck in the fluid. So it should work now. So I'm gonna hit the contactor again, and then come over to the 3-point control, see if it works this time. Okay, here we go, engaging the contactor. Whoa. It works. Now I just have to clean up that puddle underneath there I spilled. I also wanted to know how much power the pump was drawing, so I got out my multimeter, which has a AC/DC clamp-on ammeter function, and hooked it up so that I could check the current draw while this is running. And what I found that whether the 3-point hitch was going up and down, or if it was just simply pumping hydraulic fluid through the system, it was running at around 50 amps. And then separately, I checked the voltage, and it was less than 12, and multiplying the two together, we get around 600 watts. So just kind of at idle, the hydraulic system is using about 600 watts, and that by itself is a good enough reason to be able to just turn it off when it's not needed. I hope you enjoy these videos. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. That really does help. We're also on Patreon, and patrons get to see videos before the general audience and without ads, so we'd love your support there as well. And until next time, stay charged up